Roll call, please.
I'm here.
Kevin Walls. David Lexi.
Present.
Actually, he's here. We'll have him start his camera.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Present.
Sees head.
Hi, Mr. Lexi. Are you here today?
I am. Can you hear me?
Kind of, sort of.
Might be muted.
He's
I'm not muted.
he might be unmuted.
Can you hear me now?
We see him. He'll dial in
Okay.
here in a minute.
All right. Ron West.
Present.
John Ditmars.
I'm here.
All right. Brian Baird.
Yep.
Don Graham. Mark Myers.
Present.
Did I miss anybody? Kind of threw me off when. I think we got everybody. So we have a quorum.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
David, did you ever get dialed in?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We don't have your volume. We got your head.
I'm not muted.
Okay.
Need to get him a sign.
Sees eyes now too. Looks like, what's that guy in, Mr. Wilson?
Yeah.
Mr.
There we go.
Wilson.
Here we go.
There we go.
And he's
He's got the rifles in the
And
background.
sir, we'll have to do a roll call vote today for each motion.
yes. Because we have members present by
Electronic.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
We will do that then. Just remind me because I'll forget. I was looking for.
I'm looking at Carla.
I'm looking at Lynn.
On the agenda, the approval of the minutes for March 13th, 2023. Have a motion,
Second.
have a motion and a second. Now I'll go to roll call.
Kevin Walls.
Yay.
David Lexi.
Yay.
Ron West.
Yes.
John Ditmars.
Yes.
Brian Baird.
Aye.
Mark Myers.
Aye.
Sir, we have a
Approval.
All right,
approval of
thank
that.
you. I don't think anybody was against it. Treasurer's report. Hi, Angela. Good.
Looking for approval for the check register and the claims from March 11th of 2023 to May 8th of 2023, totaling $40,222.98.
Anybody have anything you want to ask her?
Just pull that microphone up a little bit. There you go. Thank you. What was the total?
$40,222.98.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Kevin Walls.
Yay.
Mark Myers.
Yay.
Brian Baird.
Aye.
Ron West.
Yes.
John Ditmars.
Yes.
And David Lexi.
Aye.
Sir, that passed with a unanimous vote.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's important to note that there were no questions asked with Angela as opposed to Pat, so from Mr. West, so.
There's trust put into Angela.
Well, I had a question I asked Carla earlier, but I still kind of in doubt about, we had an expense $96.98 to the county treasurer, and she explained that was for real estate taxes. So there's two things that came to mind. One, that's awful low, and two, are we not exempt as a municipal entity?
We are, and those were prior to us taking title to it.
So it was part of the
Correct.
transaction?
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
And then on the ditch assessment, we're still assessed for that though?
That's correct. Well, but not, well, the ditch assessment we are assessed for, even though we're tax
Yeah.
exempt. That's correct. That's
But
correct.
going forward, we'll be assessed the ditch?
That's it.
Thank you.
Mhm. Push my luck, didn't I?
No,
You asked for it, you got it.
I
you
got
got
it.
it. You
I
got
had
it.
an answer. I had an answer, and I think it's right, yeah.
All right,
Just hopping right up.
CAC.
Well, as we all know, Earth Month started out with a bang. So we were supposed to have a CAC meeting, which got canceled due to all of the tornadoes and what we were dealing with. So we will, of course, meet in June before budgets to make sure we go over all of that information before we present that to you.
I got any questions? Seeing none, thank you for the report. Now we'll go to the director's report.
And I'll say it again, Earth Month started out with a bang. And so we did spend the first 2 full weeks and then some helping with the cleanup in both Franklin, the surrounding areas, and of course in Whiteland. And we had set up 2 drop-off locations, one at the Johnson County Fairgrounds, the other up at the Old Strauss, which is now GFL Environmental in Whiteland. The fairgrounds was open for about 10 days. The one in Whiteland was open for about 2.5 weeks. It was a full collection site approved by both IDEM and FEMA. So thankfully we have, of course, for many years now had a disaster debris plan in place for the county that we recognize going forward. We really need to get our cities and towns to ensure that they also have a similar plan. And I know we've discussed many times growth. We like to see growth. Growth is a good thing, but we are kind of in a rock and a hard place when it goes from Franklin north to be able to utilize land that is government owned in some capacity, whether that be county, city, to be able to do cleanups. It is vital to, one, hopefully have your site pre-approved, but 2, if not, be able to find a site that we know can meet the approval of both IDEM and FEMA so that you can push those materials off the road quickly within those first 48 hours. But after those 48 to 72 hours, there's a very specific way in which you need to be able to monitor and separate those materials. So over those next couple of months, we would love it. And I say we, both Stephanie and I, if you could kind of look on your maps in your communities for ideas of places that you think may be able to fit that bill. It is much easier to have us use the insurance that we know is provided as a government or as a city or a town than it is for private insurance, which is why it makes it very difficult to do it on private land. Now, I will say GFL Environmental, I do wish they were here. They did an amazing job for us. They opened up their gates for us. They made sure that their gates were locked. They kept them open 7 days a week. They really did go above and beyond as a private entity, and they are willing to use their site. And thankfully, because of the way that their materials management already, they have similar insurance to what is of course necessary for that hazard insurance. But it is something that communities definitely need to be thinking about, in case we all know it's not if, it's when. So helping us to be able to find that, we did at one point have the availability of the White River Township Fire Station, and we even kept that available before 69 came in, but at this point, that is not really even viable land for us either. So it is definitely going to be a bit of a struggle, but I'm sure we'll be able to find some place, but we'd love to be able to find more than one place. And so it would be fantastic if we could get that help. I do know that we're going to meet over the summer to really work with the cities and towns, but just keeping that in mind. And Mayor, I'm looking specifically at you because I know you have a great GIS person that may be able to map and plot and help us to see. So any extra support in that would be helpful because we're great at a lot of things, but not necessarily doing that deep of a research. So.
Hey, Jesse, our highway department now has approximately 5 acres on Morgantown Road, north of Smith Valley.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and they're using it for aggregate storage and salt for winter months. That I get with Luke at
Okay.
the highway department, and that might be an available site, at least on an interim or whatever.
No, that would be that would be fantastic
Yeah.
because it's those areas that really don't have access.
Yeah.
Even with the fairgrounds, obviously, we've had the fairgrounds listed, but we also understand that there are events that go on and different practices. And so, it became a little bit difficult, although
Yeah.
we all worked together to get that straightened out. But, it's very specific in how it has to be handled. It has to be able to be blocked off. It has to be able to be monitored. And it has to have the right insurance. And so that's fantastic. So yes, I will definitely ask Luke where
Yeah.
that is.
Give it Luke.
So. Okay, and as far as we did manage to pull out a few programs. Of course, we did our library bag program, which everybody loves. You go to the library, you get during Earth Week, we give out bags that are used for books, but also then have the information for the district and extra information from soil and water in different locations. We also had a fantastic, and I called us Women of the Earth only because it was female presenters, program at Greenwood at the Environmental Center. And we may have only had 10 people, but I love it when 10 people are super interested in what you have to say. So we were there an hour longer than we were even planned. And we just got a lot of great feedback and a lot of good information out into the community. So hopefully next time we can do another program like that, maybe on a Saturday, and kind of get some more people in. But it was fantastic. We are working, I'm going to be working with Soil and Water on a couple of programs coming up. And of course, we got to get into schools. And Carla did a bingo program that brought in 65 high school students when they said, maybe we'll see 20, 25. So that was great. And then the next day we did fast fashion. And so we had about 27, I think it was, of those same kids come and do an hour-and-a-half program with us. So to get kids to be excited about an hour-and-a-half program when they don't have to be there is really awesome. And so it's been fun to, again, be able to establish those programs in the high school. Franklin really has worked with us, and I hope that we can continue to grow those programs in the other high schools. So.
Okay. Like, any questions for Jess about any of that?
All right.
David, you good?
Good.
Good.
Hey, one real quick question.
Sure.
All of that debris that wound up on the interstate I-65, did the state haul that off somewhere, or did they utilize some of your services in that regard?
The state did not haul that off. The town had to
Oh, really?
get that taken care of because unfortunately it wasn't a prior approved area. And it was mixed contamination, and you can't
Wow.
have mixed contamination. And that's why, and everything is a learning experience, right? My gosh, I mean, what Carmen had to go through from not even being in a town manager role is incredible. She did an amazing job. But those are some of the things that are so important when these disasters strike. Those first 48 to 72 hours, we know we are saving lives. But really, the material on the road is really about the only thing that you're okay to push off the road. When it comes beyond that material on the road to get to those people, it's very specific in how you have to sort and separate those materials. And a lot of it has to do with, one, how our landfills are set up, but two, of course, the availability of making sure that you do recycle or get back any monies. And again, GFL was amazing at that. If they placed a bin at some place that they knew had solid metals, they actually gave the metal container money back to the homeowners, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
But it becomes difficult because there's a big difference between private, that's why FEMA comes out and gives loans and does different things. And you want to be able to help your community because it's your community. But unfortunately, there are very specific guidelines to allow for that. I do believe that whomever they worked with helped them tremendously. And I do know that IDEM did the best they could by them in really making sure that they gave them 30 days and didn't really push on all that had happened, because it was not intentional by any means. It was just what they thought they needed to do.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Jesse. Legal.
Thank you, sir. Welcome to Mr. Dittmers. You are also now our backup financial signatory as part of our internal controls.
It's a
We
key
have-
decision point I wasn't told about.
Of course, they can tell you these things. It rarely comes into need, but as part of our internal controls, obviously, we have required duplicate signatures on checks. And if we are unable to get, who's our first signatory?
Well, it's actually what Angela is doing right now. It is to ensure that the checks are receipted and handled properly, so basically what Pat and or Angela would normally do. If one of them were not available, as you are the fiscal officer of the county,
Got it.
we have created that role to make sure that we always have a backup plan.
Good,
And
thank you.
It rarely comes in,
Yes.
because they're always here, but just in case. So
I don't
welcome
think
to
it's
you.
ever been
I don't have
like
anything
that.
further, sir.
Wow,
Record time.
record time. Old business, building financing.
Well, I spent probably 20 minutes with Mr. Sherman talking about how the department would repay the loan, the potential to use existing funds for interest payments going on until we're out of our lease. Prospect of using our lease payments towards principal reduction, and the possibility of using some of our on-hand funds for principal reduction also. So what I'll do now is I'll get back to the various institutions that I have contact information on. We'll explain to them the process that we're using to finance the building and see what they want in the way of collateral, whether we can collateralize it with the building and the property itself, or whether they want something beyond that. Pat seemed to think that our existing levy would suffice for debt reduction without any kind of a special levy. So anyway, that's the information I got. I'm still working with about a $1.2 million number as an example. If anybody's got any thoughts on that, up or down, I need to know
I
that.
don't think it'll be less than that. I'm sure it's gonna probably be more than that.
Okay, but right now I'm using 1.2, and then the other thing is term.
I mean, for kicks and giggles, I would probably go off that 1.2 and go to 2 million. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, well, I can,
Instead of backtracking and having to do it again when we get financing put in place and we start hiring people and architects and putting all that together and getting costs.
1.8, I would think.
Yeah, I would
well,
just shoot for
obviously,
2.
the spread between 1, 2, and 2 would have a major impact on their ability to pay with existing levies. So all of that kind of comes in. We really need to kind of get a more firm number. You know, going out here and trying to speculate is going to create.
I mean, I missed the health building, not by much, but I missed it. I think everything else has been coming over.
30%.
Well, yeah,
Once you start.
it's not bad.
But
But
anyway-
this wish, this desire, this it could go all over the board. We just have to control that somehow.
Well, you know, there's two ways to do it. One, you either get a bid on the building, so you know exactly what you're talking about, or the other is you specify a dollar amount and build to suit the amount of money you got. So there's two ways of doing it. I don't know which way you'd rather. I think you would
Go ahead and
prefer to
hire
make the
professional
building what you
services to
want.
Get us some pricing.
Yeah.
Put together like we're doing on everything else.
Yeah.
Don't do that. We could go ahead and just hire professional services to get us a price on it. That's the way we're doing everything
Yeah,
else.
I would.
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to your instructions.
have a little bit.
Uh,
Pardon me, I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Chairman,
We were having a sidebar.
pursuant to your discussions or instructions last meeting, depending on who you were looking at in terms of financing, I did reach out to Bill Barrett and ask him if he would be available to review any legal documents if you end up having a relationship with Mutual Savings Bank because of I'm on the board of directors. So, and he said he'd be happy to be available on call. I didn't ask him to do anything because as soon as that clock starts, I
Mhm.
didn't want to spend any money because I didn't know where you're going to go, but he is there and
Okay,
he's on deck in case you need him.
okay.
Do we have the ability to pay professional services to have somebody?
They got money.
Yeah, we did transfer some money for this budget cycle. I just want everybody to remember that in July will be my next budget. So I mean, we need some information so that I can go to State Board of Accounts with that information, but also, you know, what it is that we plan on doing, because I'll be putting together a budget for that next year. And of course, we have to be in by what, April 2025, or in storage, one of the two. So that from my standpoint, my concern is that the budget is the next board meeting.
It's probably to answer the question that Commissioner West has, and the question probably needs to be answered is what are we looking at cost? To do that, we really need to engage an architect, engineer, professional services
And
to
we
kind of
do
give
have
us an
that.
idea. He can meet with the people involved and look at other facilities and see what they've got and kind of give us an idea of what a building would cost us
Mhm.
in the way we want it done. But to do that, you really need to engage professional services for that. So I was asking where that money might come from.
And we did, I believe it was over $100,000 we had put in that line to be able to do that.
Yeah, your services total for that should be around 10%. I would think 8 to 10% total building, but just the first part of that for pricing probably, I'd say be 45, 50,000 of that
Yeah.
when you think
They
you
can
get to
put
that
some,
point.
yeah. I know I've been contacted by some actual builders because they're building one facility now in Shelby County, but I've just kind of put a hold on them right now until we figure out that we've got the financing moving forward.
The architect could possibly make contact with them and get some, what we call WAGs.
Mhm. They're better at
That's
it.
close. They're better at it than we would be.
And also, I will say is that I have reached out to IDEM in regards to the grants, and this would certainly fall in line with that because we'd be increasing the ability to capture more materials with the space that we would have. And so as long as we even have a plan, if we have a process and a plan, I can put in for those grants, which would also obviously help us to move forward, as we do, and see if there's money that comes back that maybe we could then pay toward principals or do different things. So,
Chairman, I think maybe just put together a motion to not to exceed, to engage with the professional services. I don't think it's something we want to get Wes involved in. He's got too much on his.
He's got a lot on his plate, as we heard today.
So I'd say maybe just have to find somebody that wants to engage in finding that professional services for that.
I mean, I can do that. I deal in that arena all the time. So at least bring some back. And what would the board want to put into that? Do you think 50,000 would cover it?
Yeah, if we're talking, if.
If you just want pricing, it's gonna be a lot less.
Yeah, if you're hanging in the 10% area though, 8 to 10% for the total project, I'd say you'd probably be looking at 45, 50,000 would be the max. But I'd hate to come up short. We don't have to use it if we don't use
Yeah.
it, so.
Yeah, do 100 and you don't use it, you don't use it. And that way you got enough.
I don't think it'd ever be, I would hope it wouldn't be 100.
Oh, yeah, I don't think
No.
it would be either, but if you don't use it, it just
It
reverts.
just, it reverts back, So we do that.
The other thing to consider is time is out of the essence here because our lease runs out, is it April 2025?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we need to be in that building prior to that date. Because I don't think Petros is going to give us an extension, a short.
no, I'm pretty sure they're gonna.
Yeah. They're
No,
gonna
they
put us
won't.
on the street.
We do have a holdover provision, but it's pretty salty, so we wouldn't. want to-
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we allow you to make contact with some professional service agencies or to get us a price on this and up to not exceeding $100,000.
Second.
First and a second on the floor. Call.
Okay, I just want to confirm that was a motion made by
Mr.
Commissioner
West?
Baird and
Oh.
seconded by Commissioner West. Is that
Correct.
Mayor.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, did
Yeah.
he? He was quick on that.
Mark was ready to jump on it. Ron got it.
Roll call vote, Mr. West,
You're talking to me. I can't hear you with that microphone way up there.
well, I am height impaired. That is one thing I
Yes.
definitely am. Mr. Baird,
Aye.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mr. Walls,
Yes.
Mr. Ditmars,
Yes.
Mr. Lexi.
Yes.
Thank you. We have a unanimous vote on that, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
And you're gonna do that, Kevin?
Yeah, I'll just bring it back to the board. I'll bring a couple of different options back with some architectural firms. I'll probably stay with a smaller firm, not go with one of the big ones.
Thank you.
Really, that shouldn't be.
Should be pretty simple. New business. Not much. We got the next board meeting would be July 10th, 2023 at 1:30 PM. Are good with that?
Move to adjourn.
Well, hold on, we gotta get public comment. We have a captive audience out here.
I was trying to avoid that.
Any public comment?
We have good public.
You
Okay,
don't come
there-
from the meetings I come from.
I was trying to avoid public.
Okay, Mr. Baird's motion of adjournment
adjourn.
is on there.
Second.
We are adjourned.
There's Motion Baird, second West.
And roll call vote is yes.
Not necessary. Actually, you can actually adjourn it yourself.
That's right.
That's right.
You know, I've only heard one person ever do that.
Just adjourn it.
Just adjourn. It's the way Commissioner here, Brent, does his meetings.
No.
He just adjourns them, which you can do.
You can
You don't
do.
even have to motion for it anymore.
I think most people do just
Well,
as
drainage board,
courtesy in
Doug
case
Lechner
there's somebody
walked
wants to
up here and
raise
said-
something.
I always wanted to motion in a
Surveyor said I
second.
adjourned the
Yeah,
meeting.
just
I said, "You
as a
can't do it
courtesy.
because